Yo, what's up? This is Dallas Cowboys State of the Union, back again with another video. Of course, it's 2 days after the aftermath, the devastating loss to the LA Rams. So, we wanted to come and give a little thoughts on that and, talk about some things that's going to happen in the offseason. So, first of all, what you thought of the game?
I was very surprised how the defense got blown up at the point of attack. I felt one of the keys to victory, and I told you this before the game started, is that in order to beat LA, we have to stop their rushing attack, because their rushing attack sets up a lot of their play action passes. They ran 294 play action passes in the NFL this past season. That was ranked #1 in the NFL. A lot of that comes off the run, comes off of big runs from Todd Gurley. Right. And I felt in order for us to have a legitimate chance, we had to stop the run, and we wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, defensively, we just could never get settled. And two-headed monster with Gurley and C.J. Anderson, they basically just bomb rushed our defense. I think that that this coaching staff looked at the Indianapolis game and said, okay, how was Indy able to run the ball so effectively? Because that's the only other time that we've seen this defense give up that much rush.
And ironically, it was on the road.
Yeah, this
game was on the road. We was 4-4 on the road, I think, this past season.
Yeah.
So basically 500. And like you said, you want to know how they was able to run the ball. Linebackers not standing in gaps, not being disciplined. Yeah. Not winning the line of the scrimmage. Games are won in the trenches, and we wasn't able to do that.
And come to find out, I think the Ringer, a newspaper in L.A., apparently one of the Rams O-linemen said that they knew their stunts, they knew their hand gestures for play calls and things of that nature. So that right there is disheartening. I went into the game, optimistic but skeptical at the same time. I look back at what Chris Richard was able to do against Sean McVay last year when he was in Seattle, and I saw that Seattle wasn't able to find a way to contain them defensively even last year. And I said, okay, we're going to have our work cut out for us. I didn't believe we was going to give up that many rushing yards. I thought that, yes, it was going to be a struggle, but eventually we're going to be able to get a couple of 3 and outs, and hopefully we could capitalize. I think that the defense coming out, they gave up so much on that first drive. Yeah, they held them to 3 points, but we gotta understand that they moved the ball on us so much, Yeah. And so then, of course, the offense comes out. They score with that first possession. The defense comes back out, still are not able to make a stop.
But
and so
they give up another 3 points.
They gave up another 3 points, and then that's where our offensive woes came in. What's funny to me is that most people look at this game and they don't want to give the defense nor Chris Richard any blame, when that was a catalyst. We've seen this whole season that our defense has been the forefront, and, and our offense been able to play off of that. Right. So the fact that the defense was getting gashed all game long, that required the offense to be exactly perfect. And we know that with the kind of offense we have and the kind of scheme that we run, that's just not going to happen.
It's inconsistent.
It's too inconsistent, and we know that we're going to have some 3 and outs just because of how vanilla and predictable the play calling is. So, you couldn't expect for the offense to really just carry them the whole game, because that's not the way it's been all season.
No.
I think what was more disheartening is that, we was down 20-7. We came back out on the first possession, then we got a 3 and out. People will say, oh, well, Dak didn't make certain throws and things of that nature. Yeah, he had a couple of throws that was errant. Maybe he could have, he didn't look at a wide open person, but I also saw a lot of receivers, balls hitting them in the hands, they dropping them, things of that nature. So I just think that we wasn't ready offensively. And then when they was able to contain Zeke, it was really disheartening, because you just saw Zeke just being forced to just run straight into a brick wall, and for no gain. And so a lot of people say that, oh, well, we was in 4th and 1 situations, and we wasn't able to move the ball, and that's on Dak. I said, but if y'all look at it, a lot of those carries that we gave Zeke, we will have a positive play, and then we'll get a negative 3-4 yards because they was just playing the run very well. And I felt that after that first 3 and out, I felt that offensively, we should have made a change and stopped running the ball with Zeke. And I felt that on one of those on that second drive, when we was able to score or whatever, we still got in a whole bunch of situations that caused us to have to throw balls on 3rd and long and things of that nature, and it was putting us in a bad position, offensively, making time making time basically just come off the clock. So, you look at it like that. I just feel like this coaching staff, you saw that the run wasn't working. This is a playoff game now. A lot of people say that, you got to just be consistent with the run and eventually things will open up. You can look from the game, the way the game is coming to you, that obviously the run wasn't going to open up unless you had repetitive, positive passing plays. And then maybe the pass will open up the run.
Well, 2 plays to me that shaped this game. One of them was on defense. We was 3rd and 14. We're thinking we're going to get off the field, and Byron Jones gets called for illegal hands to the face. The game at that point was 13-7. I think if he was able to get off the field at that point, that would have gave the defense a little bit more confidence. Hey, we can stop these guys. And the game, we may be talking about a different outcome. The second play that shaped the game was the 4th and 1. And I had an issue with the 4th and 1, not with going for it, because I felt at that point in time, we needed to go for it. Again, it was the same thing in Indianapolis. Is you have a box formation, you have 3 tight ends, and you have 1 incoming receiver going in motion, becoming the inline blocker, and you seeing the Rams holding it up, gearing up to stop the run, and you run it anyway. I get what that thought is. You're expecting your offensive line to beat their defensive line. You believe your guys is better than the guys across from that line of the scrimmage, but you got to know your personnel at this point. You don't have Travis Frederick, okay? Zach Martin has been compromised for the majority of the season.
You got an undersized Connor Williams.
Right. You got to know your personnel, and it was the same thing in Indianapolis. He was way too obvious with his play calling when he did not need to be. I felt, at that particular point, he could have ran a read option play since they were so keen in on Zeke. Or he could have.
That was one thing. That was one thing.
He could have went to the shotgun formation. And spread the defense out. That way, if you are going to run the ball with Zeke, you have the necessary space to do that. If you're going to do a box formation, you got Amari Cooper 1-on-1, and he's been beating. He was beating Peters all game long with the slant route.
I mean, and that's one thing. That's one thing that I wanted to touch on because. Yes, one might say, well, the offense didn't make it any easy on the defense because they kept getting 3 and outs, primarily in the first half of the game. But you look at some of those plays, we'll run into a brick wall with Zeke. We'll try to do some wide receiver screen, a lot of predictable stuff, and that's where, that's where the issue is. You didn't use Dak with his legs, for some reason. Now, understand, the organization trying to make him a better pocket passer, and why I do think that those things matter. At the end of the day, using Dak's legs is key because now they got to account for that. Now, you don't have to do it the whole entire game, but I just feel when the game is on the line, a read option or something like that would definitely set something out, or call plays that will allow Dak to roll out to his left or roll out to his right. And you look at a lot of the big plays in the game, it was because of broken coverage and Dak, being able to get outside of the pocket and basically, make a play. Him and the receiver make a play. So you look at a lot of the big, parts. I mean, when you think about it, he kept us in the game. Definitely, because the running game wasn't working. So him, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper on some big plays kept us in the game. With that 4th and 1, I felt like, hey, you're looking at this. You're looking at what's happening. They're loading up the box. They're selling out to stop the run. You got a 1-on-1 Amari Cooper. I didn't understand why they didn't decide to throw it to him or anything like that, call an audible. And another thing that I had a problem with, that last drive that we had 7 minutes on the clock, and I felt like it was no intensity,
no sense of urgency.
no sense of urgency. We was just easing on up to the line. We wasn't even when we was doing no huddle, it was literally a whole lot of sitting around. It wasn't a sense of urgency.
Taking a lot of time.
They was chewing up a lot of time off the clock because they was taking up so much time, like you said, calling the plays. So then when you get there, you know, it's like, okay, we scored the last touchdown with Dak running it in. We go for the 1 point field goal or whatnot. At that point, I feel like it's 2 minutes left on the clock. I feel like, hey, okay, one might say that pinning, kicking the ball back and having it land, you know, pinning them back in like their 10-yard line and things of that nature, probably be the right call. But I looked at it that our defense hadn't been able to stop them the whole night. And you know that at that point, they're trying to run the rock to chew up the clock, get a first down, and basically force the game, you know, in their favor. And I just didn't understand. Your defense hasn't been able to stop the run. It'll be one thing if your defense was able to stop the run, but your defense hasn't been able to stop the run all game long. They're gassed. What made you think that kicking the ball that far was going to do that? I honestly would have took a chance for an onside kick.
Yeah, that was the only. I didn't really have a problem with Jason Garrett all game. I mean, that was the only issue. Is you got to recognize the game script. The defense has been getting gassed up the middle with the run. Yeah. And, you know, for me, people was talking about, well, I mean, I can understand why he didn't go for the onside kick. That would be giving the Rams a short field. I understand that, but look, even if you're going to make them drive the length of 99 yards, they have not been able to stop it. And in a one-possession game, where I wouldn't even say it's a one-possession game. Well, one-possession game where you have to recover the onside kick, you have to score, and you have to get a 2-point conversion in that order. I felt like the right call should have been the onside kick.
Yeah. I mean,
he felt differently.
So, you know, the game ended up turning out the way it was, lost by 8 points. Devastating loss. I mean, but first of all, you have to give credit to this Cowboys team. At 3-5, nobody expected them to make the playoffs, let alone win a playoff game and make it to the second round of the playoffs. So big ups to them. But I think that if this game showed anything, yes, the defense had a poor performance. But I think that if anything, what this game shown is that we need offensive coordinator
that's innovative.
Innovative, because when you have those days where your defense is playing down, we're not creative. Yeah, we're not creative enough offensively to score, and that's what's been the problem. You got a banged up Zeke, you got a banged up O-line all season long. We're not creative at that. So when you look at it in its totality, it's like, okay, the same situations will happen offensively. You know, now our defense has been able to bail us out, and then somewhere between the third and fourth quarter, we turn everything on, and then we're able to make positive plays to win the game. But the offense is going to hinder them.
But like you said, is, you know, the name of the game is to score points. You know, the defense is not going to bail us out every single time. Yeah. You know, they're going to have a bad day at the offense. That's where your offense have to pick up the slack. Yeah. I say that's the first order of business for the offseason is finding an offensive coordinator that can tailor-make a scheme around Dak's strengths. Yeah. He has
be able to adjust and use his weapons. I mean, use the players to their strengths. I mean, Amari Cooper, you got a Gallup who got speed. You got all these weapons, and this offense could be way more creative and innovative, and we just haven't seen that happen.
Right. That would be the first order of business to me. Dak has improved some as a pocket passer, but I feel like his best assets is utilizing his legs. You need an offensive coordinator that can tailor-make an offense around his strengths. You know, naked bootlegs, read the option, getting outside the pocket and throwing on the run where he's most dangerous at, where he's accurate. You saw the almost touchdown pass to Gallup. Yeah. You know, I feel like that's the first order of business. The second order of business is for the offseason is getting a defensive tackle. I would have said tight end. Yeah. But Jarwin and Schultz has become emerging targets with Dak. Yeah. So that's not much of a need, but I feel like they're going to move on from Rico Gathers. They need to get a tight end later in the draft. And the third order of business, trade for Antonio Brown.
I don't think that we need to trade.
That's more of a wishful thinking.
Yeah, I don't think they need to trade for Antonio Brown. I think that a second year with Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper and Dak and all of them being able to gel again, I think that our wide receiver core is good. If we have a more innovative offensive scheme, then you will see these weapons being used to their full potential. So yeah, that's wishful thinking on there, but you know, we're gonna keep y'all posted during the off season. We're gonna cover free agency, the draft, and all of that good stuff. So y'all just keep it locked.